Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Salam Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Distinguished speakers, respected colleagues, and honored guests. My name is Muhammad Kabil Mubarak as the third author, and my team consists of Madeswanika as the first author, Kevin Firide Mudawintu as the second author, Yuniar Melissa Kristianti as the fourth author, and Rahmaya Nova as the fifth author. It is an honor for us to welcome you to this session and share our latest research findings titled Isofluran and Sevofluran in the Operating Room, a comprehensive meta-analysis of efficacy and safety. This research is the result of a collaboration between the Department of Anesthesiology, Faculty of Health Science, Harapan Bangsa University, and the Department of Nursing, Jenderal Sudirman University. In our presentation today, we will discuss an evidence-based comparison between the two most commonly used volatile anesthetic agents in modern surgical practice, isofluran and sevofluran. Our analysis examines the efficacy, safety profile, and preoperative outcomes of both agents, with the aim of supporting clinical decision-making and optimizing patient care, particularly in situations where cost and resource availability are key considerations. Now, to get you through our research journey, let me walk you through the outline of today's presentation. The first point is introduction. The second point are material and method. The third point is result. The fourth point is discussion. And the last point is conclusion. Let us now begin with the introduction. Inhalation anesthesia plays a fundamental role in modern preoperative care, providing reliable induction and maintenance of anesthesia for a wide range of surgical procedures. Among the most commonly used agents are isofluran and sevofluran, both of which have been extensively evaluated for their efficacy, safety, and cost effectiveness. Sevofluran, with its low blood gas solubility, is known for its rapid onset and offset, smooth induction, and good recovery profile. Minimal airway irritation and rapid recovery make it highly suitable for outpatient surgery and enhanced recovery protocol. Isofluran, although more soluble and generally associated with slower recovery, remains widely used due to its economic advantage and evidence supporting myocardial protection, particularly in ischemia reperfusion settings. The next we have objective. The primary objective of our study was to determine whether isofluran is non-inferior to sevofluran in terms of key preoperative outcome, including length of ICU stay, time to extubation, postoperative myocardial injury, and short-term mortality. Our ultimate goal is to provide robust evidence to guide the selection of cost-effective, outcome-oriented anesthesia in various surgical procedures. The next topic are material and method and will be presented by Miss Junior. Miss Junior, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kabil, for the time. Now, I would like to present our material and methods of ours. Yeah, these studies followed the PRISMA 2020 guideline for systematic review and meta-analysis. The protocol was registered in the International Perspective Register of Systematic Review, or we call it the Prospero, and under the registration number CRD 42025103910. And this ensures transparency and adherence to established methodological standards. And then we conducted a comprehensive search across four major electronic databases such as the PubMed, IMBES, the Cochrane Central Register of Controlled Trials, and then the last one, there's Web of Science. Our search strategy incorporates both keyword and medical subject hidden or maelstrom related to isofluran, sevofluran, general anesthesia, and randomized controlled trial. And then this study were included if they involved adult patient within age 18 years old and compared the isofluran with sevofluran. And the data extraction covered details such as the author name, year of publication, country of origin, sample size, patient demographic, surgical type, anesthetic protocol, and reported outcome. And then to assess the methodological quality and potential bias, we use the Cochrane Risk of Bias 2.0 tool. And this evaluation covered aspects such as the randomizations, allocation consolment, outcome measurement, and selective reporting to ensuring the included studies met the high quality standard. And how about our statistical analysis? Yeah, all analyses were performed using the Raveman or Review Manager software version 5.4.3. And for dichotomous outcome, we calculate full risk ratio with corresponding 95% confidence interval or CI using random effects model to account for variability among the study. And statistical heterogeneity was assessed using the chi-square test and quantified with the I-square statistic, where an I-square value above 50% indicate that substantial heterogeneity. Publication bias was evaluated using panel plot analysis and Igor regression test. P-value of less than 0.05 was considered statistically significant, except in the case of the heterogeneity testing where the threshold of 0.1 was applied. Okay, next we will move for our primary result. As you can see, there's the slide present the Prisma flow diagram outlining our study selection process. And we initially identified recording through the multiple database. The PubMed, we made around 284 article, and then the Embase 301. Web of Science, we made around 196 article, and the Cochrane, we made around 192 the article. And then we found 757 record work screen, and 689 were excluded for reasons such as non-randomized study design, irrelevant intervention, or ineligible population. And then the full text assessment excluded an additional 68 article, leaving the 9 studies that met our inclusion criteria for qualitative synthesis. And then for the next result will be delivered by Mr. Kevin. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Junior, for the time. Now I will continue the presentation. We come to the characteristics of included studies. These 9 studies included a total 2,176 adult patients undergoing various surgical procedures under general anesthesia. Half of the patients received isoflurane and the other half sevoflurane. The type surgery varied from cardiac surgery, like on and off pump CABG, and valve replacement, and to general surgery. The outcome assessed were comprehensive, including ICU stay, 30-day mortality, intubation time, and hemodynamic stability. We also evaluate the risk of bias using the Cochrane ROB 2.0 tool. 7 studies were rated as low risk, while 2 had some concern, mainly due to unclear allocation consolment. Importantly, none of the studies had a high risk of bias. Now, for our primary outcome, the composite of 30-day mortality or ICU stay of 48 hours or more. In the sevoflurane group, the incidence was 25%, and in the sevoflurane group, it was 30%. The pooled analysis yielded a risk ratio of 0.82 with a p-value of 0.21. This meets our predefined non-inferior margin, meaning there was no statistically significant difference, and neither agent proved superior to the other. We also looked at potential publication bias. The funnel plot was symmetrical. The Ager test produced a p-value of 0.28, indicating no significant publication bias. So, what do this finding mean? Essentially, isoflurane is non-inferior to sevoflurane for major perioperative outcome: mortality, ICU length stay, extubation time, myocardial injury, and hemodynamic stability. Also comparable. In other words, both agents are equally safe and effective. Clinically, is this quite important, especially for research-limited settings. Isoflurane is significantly less expensive, yet delivers the same level of safety and efficacy. This means the choice of anesthetic should not be driven purely by novelty or cost assumption, but rather by evidence, patient-specific needs, hospital protocol, and resource availability. Of course, there are limitations. There was moderate heterogeneity among studies in terms of surgical type and perioperative care. Most trials were small, single-center RCTs. Long-term outcome data was scarce, and we couldn't perform detailed subgroup analysis. And while the funnel plot didn't suggest publication bias, the small number of studies limits the statistical power to detect. In conclusion, isoflurane remains a safe, effective, and cost-efficient alternative to sevoflurane for general anesthesia across range of surgical procedures. We found no significantly difference in key outcomes, including mortality, ICU stay, extubation time, myocardial injury, or hemodynamic support requirement. Therefore, anesthetic selection should be guided by evidence-based practice, tailored by patient needs, institutional protocols, and available resources, rather than assumption about pharmacological security. Thank you. That's all for me. I will give back the presentation to Mr. Kabir. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Kevin. That concludes our study presentation. Allow me to end with a quote. When the science show no winner, the patient wins through choice. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.